Lcisd Science Grade 8 Fall Semester Exam, 2016-2017. Number 1. Two students are working together to build a birdhouse. Student 1 applies a force of 10 newtons to a wooden board in order to slide it across the table to student 2. If the force of friction resisting the student's push is 4 newtons, what is the net force acting on the board? There's your answer choices. Number 2, elements R and element Q have the same number of valence electrons. These elements both have similar chemical behavior, but element R has fewer energy levels than element Q. Element R, 12 protons. Element Q, 20 protons. Which statement best describes the position of the two elements in the periodic table? F. The two elements are in the same period, with element R, the first element in the period, and element Q, the last element. G. The two elements are side by side in the same period, with element Q to the left of element R. H. The two elements are in the same group, with element R just above element Q. J. The two elements are in the same group, with element Q at the top of the group and element R at the bottom. Three, a student obtains 2 strips of magnesium, Mg, ribbon that are each 3 centimeters long. One strip of magnesium is placed in a test tube containing 5 milliliters of water, and the other strip is placed in a test tube containing 5 milliliters of hydrochloric acid, HCl. Both liquids are at room temperature. The student's observations are recorded in the table. Test tube 1, magnesium in water. Test tube 2, magnesium in hydrochloric acid, HCl. No observable activity takes place. The temperature of the water remains constant. A lit match placed near the mouth of the test tube continues to burn. The appearance of the metal does not change. Test tube 2. Bubbling occurs on the surface of the magnesium. The temperature of the liquid increases. A lit match placed near the mouth of the test tube makes a popping sound and goes out. The metal strip gradually becomes smaller until nothing is left except a clear liquid. Which statement is not supported by the student's observations? A. A chemical reaction takes place between magnesium and hydrochloric acid. B. A gas is released in test tube 2. C. The substances in both test tubes are reactive only at high temperatures. D. Energy is released in the reaction involving hydrochloric acid. 4. The list includes 6 situations: a book sliding across a table at a constant speed, a ball sitting on a shelf, a can rolling down a ramp, a swing moving back and forth, a car traveling at a constant speed of 15 meters per second, a bird landing on a branch. Which objects in the list experience an unbalanced force? F. The book, the ball, and the car. G. The ball, the car, and the bird. H. The can, the swing, and the bird. J. The book, the ball, the can, and the swing. 5. What is the difference between the number of electrons in an atom of selenium, Se, and the number of electrons in an atom of aluminum, Al? Record your answer and fill in the bubbles on your answer document. Be sure to use the correct place value. 6. Deep Space One was a spacecraft powered by an engine that gave off xeon particles to change velocity. It had a mass of 500 kilograms. What expression can be used to find the spacecraft's acceleration if its engine created a net force of 0.10 newtons? 7. 4 students were asked to name the part of an atom that determines the atom's identity and chemical properties. The students' responses are shown in the table below. Student responses. Student 1, part of an atom that determines identity, part of an atom that determines chemical properties. The part of an atom that determines identity. Neutrons, protons, valence electrons, electron cloud. Part of atom that determines chemical properties. Electron cloud, valence electrons, protons, neutrons. Which student responses are correct? Strontium phosphate is a crystalline substance used in medicine and industry. How many phosphorus atoms are represented in the formula that follows? 9. During a lab investigation, students added 4 50-gram masses to 2 boxes and arranged the boxes so that they were motionless on a pulley, as shown in the diagram. The students then followed the procedure described in the box. The students recorded their observations after each procedure and reset the pulley system to the original conditions. You have a pulley right here, and you have box 1, 50 grams mass. Box 2 doesn't have a weight. During which procedures did the students observe an unbalanced force on box number 1, this box? Procedures. 1, push box 1 downward, observe, and reset. 2, add another mass to box 1, observe, reset. 3, remove 1 mass from box 2, observe, reset. 4, add another mass to box 2, observe, reset. 5, remove 2 masses from box 1, observe, reset. During which procedure did students observe an unbalanced upward force on box 1? And there's your answer choices. 10. A chemical reaction in which calcium carbonate, CaCO3, is decomposed results in the production of 2 simpler compounds. What mass of calcium carbonate is the nearest hundredth of a gram is decomposed in this reaction? Record your answer and fill in the bubbles on your answer document. Be sure to use the correct place value. Number 11. Students in a science class prepared flashcards so that they could quiz one another about the arrangement of the periodic table. One of the flashcards contained information about 2 elements, element L and element M, in this text box right here, this note card. Atoms of element M have 2 more valence electrons than atoms of element L. Second bullet, atoms of element L are more reactive than atoms of element M. Third bullet, both elements are metals. The students had to use the information on the flashcard to determine possible positions of the 2 elements on the blank periodic table. Which periodic table has the elements placed in locations that match the information on the flashcard? A, B, C, and D. 12. Nitrogen dioxide is a gas that can be generated by emissions from vehicles and factories. It can also be generated by natural sources such as forest fires, lightning, and microbial activity in soil. The equation for producing nitrogen dioxide is shown below. You have a colorless gas plus O2, a colorless gas. Then you have brown gas. Which of these provides evidence that a chemical reaction occurred? F, a gas is present. G, the total number of atoms remains unchanged. H, the state of matter remains the same. J, a brown gas is produced. 13. A student graphed the position of a cart during a 7-second time interval. Position versus time graph. Position, time. Which statement best describes the cart? A. The cart was stationary with a velocity of 0 meters per second for the entire 7 seconds. B. The cart was stationary except for a short burst of acceleration of 0.5 meters per second squared. C. The cart moved at a constant velocity of 0.5 meters per second for the entire 7 seconds. D. The cart accelerated at a constant rate of approximately 0.8 meters per second squared. 14. A golfer hits a golf ball with a club. The mass of the ball is 0.05 kilograms. The ball accelerates at 2,000 meters per second squared. What is the net force to the nearest Newton that accelerates the ball? Record your answer and fill in the bubbles on your answer document. Be sure to use the correct place value. 15. How many protons, neutrons, electrons are present in an atom of hafnium, HF, with a mass number of 178? 16. The table shows the chemical formulas for 4 substances. You have your substances and your chemical formulas. Which substances have the same number of carbon atoms? There's your answer choices. 17. NASA's Space Shuttle program was active from 1981 until 2011. The photograph shows rockets carrying a space shuttle off the launch pad. The graph picture says, launch of a space shuttle. How can Newton's law of action-reaction best be applied to explain the movement of the rocket? A. As the fuel burns, gases push against the rocket, moving it upward. B. As the fuel burns, gases move out of the rocket and reduce air resistance. C. As the fuel burns, the mass of the rocket decreases. D. As the fuel burns, the rocket moves faster. 18. Tin, Sn, is a soft white metal. It has a low melting point compared with other metals. Tin is widely used as a coating for cans of food. Which statement accurately describes atoms of tin? F. 10 atoms have 50 protons. G. 10 atoms have 5 valence electrons. H. 10 atoms have 119 neutrons. J. 10 atoms have 68 electrons. 19. Some students are using samples of different substances for a lab investigation. They plan to observe the physical properties of each substance and record their observations in a table like the one below. You have your data table, you have your sample, 1 through 7, your substance, and your observations. Which of these substances observed are elements? 20. The graph below shows the motion of a ball rolling on a straight track. You have the motion of the ball, distance in meters, and time in seconds. What was the ball's average speed during the time represented in the graph? 21. 4 students were given a list of compounds and asked to identify which ones are organic. You have your formula, you have student K, student L, student M, and student N. Which student correctly identified the organic compounds in the list? 22. The drawing shows 2 identical airplanes at an air show. The airplanes are flying at the same speed. Airplane W is flying 50 meters higher than airplane X. Which statement best describes the energy of the 2 airplanes? F. Airplane W has greater kinetic energy than airplane X. G. The 2 airplanes have the same gravitational potential energy but different kinetic energies. H. Airplane X has more gravitational potential energy than airplane W. J. The 2 airplanes have the same kinetic energy but different gravitational potential energies.